Welcome to Amir's Tech YouTube channel. Once again, I'm Amir Iqbal Khan. This is Co's instructor for this series of CCNA complete and comprehensive guide and uh, tutorials along with the labs. I will generate a lecture series of CCNA, complete theoretical series of CCNA. But first, I have to work on some labs regarding the CCNA, the networks, the basic networking. Here I have two routers and why I have put it here. In this lecture, I'm going to talk about what is Cisco iOS CLI, how to implement basic security configurations on Cisco router, and how to check the running and startup configurations. What is the main difference between the running configurations and the startup configurations? How to encrypt the password which we gave to the Cisco router, how to assign a password to the Cisco router, and how to save the configurations. Like we have done 2 hours, 3 hours of configurations on the Cisco router's devices, and if we do not save the configurations at the last moment, we will lose each and everything after the restart of the device. So there are also three methods to save the configurations, and we will work on all these three configurations. So let's start the lecture. I have to connect these two routers by a crossover cable. Crossover cable is used to connect two same devices of Cisco, not router to PC or router to switch, but router to router, switch to switch, or any same type of devices. I can use this crossover for same type of devices like router to router, switch to switch, or etc. We cannot connect router to switch by crossover cable. To connect different types of devices, such as router to PC, router to um, switch, or router to firewall, we are using straight throw cable. I will assign some IP addresses to each of the router here, 192.168.1.1 for this one, router 5, router 4, and 192.168.1.2 for the router 5. 192.168.1.0 will be our network. Don't get in confusion with this network 1.0. Just take it easy. I will uh, discuss these things furthermore in next videos. I have to enter the router CLI, but before entering it, I have to tell you that what is a Cisco iOS CLI. First of all, don't get uh, these two terms of Cisco iOS and Apple's iOS the same. Cisco's iOS and Apple's iOS has lots of differences and they are not related to each other. They are completely different. Second, what is CLI? CLI is a command line interface. Command line interface. There are two types of interfaces at computer. The first, the command line, and the second, a graphical user. Command line interface and graphical user interface. Right now, I am working in this window. This is a graphical user interface. But logically, when I'm entering to space where I have to type commands to do commands to the computer instructions to it. This is called CLI, the command line. Without commands, there are nothing used in this menu. And you have to configure each and every protocol, each and everything on the devices of Cisco just by the command line. So here students will get in a confusion that how to access a Cisco device via computer. So we have a software called OT. I'm using it for a long time and it gave me a lot of benefit points, a lot of easy access to the uh, Cisco devices. We can download this PuTTY for free from the internet and configure it on our laptop and then connect the devices uh, to our laptop. So to connect the devices to our laptop, we are using a cable called crossover. This cable is used to connect those devices which are related to Cisco to the laptop. So cables are different, such as straight throw cable, um, rollover cable, crossover cable. Sorry, before I've told you that this is a crossover cable. Now, this is not a crossover, this is a rollover cable. Via rollover cable, we can connect um, our laptop to the Cisco device. So I will enter the command line interface. And in command line interface, I have to implement those things that I have written here. Implement the basic security. Before implementing, I have to tell you that when we enter the CLI of the router, we have to type now to enter. And this is user mode, the user executive execution mode. In this mode, I have to type enable to enter the next mode, which is the um, privileged execution mode. In this mode, you cannot do anything, but just simply you can check things and do small changes, so limited. So to enter the global configuration mode, the mode that you can configure any type of thing, any configuration you do on the router can be done by the global configuration mode. When you're not on the global configuration mode, you cannot configure things on that device. So um, to enter that mode, to access to that mode, we have a command configure terminal. When you enter, you can see that the global configuration mode is um, entered, so we can do any type of configuration in this mode. Whenever you're accessing your router, be careful to con to enter the global configuration mode and do your configurations. So I will tell you a basic security configuration, which is uh, enable pass. This command enables a password, and after this command, you have to type your password, such as I will do this password. I will select password CCNP. Now you have assigned a password to your device, and you can check it. How you can check it? You can check it by to show running config. You know, you can check your password CCNP, enable password CCNP. How you can check this again? Entering the device from the start and enable. So the password is required. The password will not be shown here, but I will type CCNP. You know, I've entered the mode. So if I write this password wrong as CCNA, it will not enter the router. So this is the first one. And the second security configuration is the enable secret. You know what is the difference between enable secret and enable password? The enable password is just taking the password like CCNA, any number, any character. But the enable secret is the second method of security. When you're assigning enable password and enable secret at the same time, the enable secret will be required, and this method enable secret is has an MD5 and no, it does not have an encryption, but this is more advanced, such as if I type it Amir and then I get back, when I type CCNP, the password will be not accepted. The acceptable password will be AMIR, Amir, which I have entered here. You can check it. Now I will enter, I've entered the user execution mode, the privileged execution mode. And now I will enter the configuration mode. In configuration mode, I will do another, um, I will show you another command which is used for the password encryption. It is service password encryption. This command will encrypt all the passwords which are assigned to the router. Now let's check this show running config. You know, this password and this password is both encrypted right now. No one can read it. And remember that service password encryption does MD5 password encryptions. So I will jump to the running configuration in the startup configuration. When you want to check the configurations you have done on your router, you have to type this command show running config. When you enter, you will you will access to all the configurations you have done on the router. You have done enable password, done enable secret, and also the encryptions. So I will get back to the difference between the running configuration and the startup configuration. If I type show startup config, the router will simply tell me that startup config is not present. Why? Because the configuration we do at the first point, at the start of the router, we do all the configurations, 2 hours, 3 hours, and after the configurations. If we do not save those configurations and save it to the startup config, then nothing will appear. What is a startup configuration? Startup configuration is a configuration which is saved on the device. Even if we restart the device, the startup configuration will be there. It will get no changes, it will not be erased from the device. And running configurations are the temporary configurations which are running currently on the device. So to mm, uh, write to save these configurations, we use the right method. Building configuration. Okay. You know, now I have saved the configuration. By write memory, I can also save the configuration, building configuration. Okay. Copy running config, startup config. Destination file name. Now I've entered. So building configuration means that the whole configuration you done on this device is successfully saved. After a restart of the device, it will appear again and no change will be um, in the configuration. So enable AMIR, which is the enable secret password. We will not be entering the enable password because I told you when you set an enable password and uh, enable secret at the same time, then you have to type the enable secret one. So to check the startup configuration, you simply enter the command show startup config. This is the startup configurations on the device. Basic security. Thanks of watching this series of CCNA. I hope you get to know fast about these lectures and don't be confused in these lectures as this is the starting point of the Cisco. And thank you. Subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends.